Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Let me take this opportunity first on behalf of the people and government of Kenya to welcome all of you to this great city of Nairobi. While you are in Nairobi, you've heard there is the spirit of Nairobi. The spirit of Nairobi is about the spirit of home. Before all you guys went to all manner of places in Europe, America, Australia, Asia, and the rest of Africa, this is the home of humanity. This is where we all began. And so allow me to say, welcome home. I know many of you may have required a visa to get here. That may probably be the last time you will need a visa to come to Kenya, because from next year, none of you will require a visa because it's not fair. Because it's not fair to ask anybody for a visa when they are going home. It is important. Let me begin, Madam Executive Director, Executive Secretary of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee, distinguished chair of the International Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee on Plastic Pollution, Ambassador Meza Guerda, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is not always common for the globe to speak in unison or act in urgency on an issue, especially when it is of an environmental nature. But the threat of plastics to our planet, our health, and our future is of such magnitude that it requires all of us, and I mean all of us, the Global South and the Global North, to develop and execute a global instrument that will help us to neutralize the threat of plastic pollution in our world. The numbers on plastic pollution explain the necessity of working together with tremendous purpose and urgency. Every year, more than 400 million tons of plastic waste are produced globally. Of this, 23 million tons find their way into rivers, lakes, and oceans, and less than 10% is recycled. Across the world, 46% of plastic waste is landfilled, 22% is mismanaged and becomes litter, while 17% is incinerated. If we hold our laurels and do nothing, we will produce more than 1 billion tons of plastic by 2060. This kind of polluting our environment is unacceptable and is essentially an existential threat to life, to humanity, and to everything in between. This is the time to stop this, and you are the negotiators who will make this happen. On behalf of the government and people of Kenya, I welcome all of you to our country and to this integral session of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee. Kenya is delighted to host this session, particularly because it was here in Nairobi that humanity spoke in one voice at the United Nations Environmental Assembly 5.2, when 170 nations agreed to launch negotiations towards a globally binding instrument. The scope of the instrument was supposed to clearly reflect the requirement of Resolution 514 of the United Nations Environmental Assembly, including ending plastic pollution across the full cycle of all plastics and addressing its effects on human health and the environment, and especially the marine environment. The committee was tasked to draft at least 3 things. Number 1, a global instrument that promotes sustainable product design and eliminates the most harmful and high-risk plastic categories, including problematic polymers, chemicals of concern, products and applications, and bring overall plastic production to sustainable levels. Number two, ensures the need to enshrine sustainable production and consumption patterns and environmentally sound management of plastic waste, which also addresses existing plastic pollution. And number three, to support the application of the Rio principle, including the polluter pays and precautionary principles, the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities, and emphasizes the importance of operationalizing those principles throughout the provision of the instrument. I want to commend the committee for the work you have already accomplished in your first and second sessions. I believe I speak for many across the world when I say I am encouraged and confident that you will deliver a global instrument on time and lead a monumental shift in our relationship with the planet and with each other. The global community is waiting with great anticipation for the instrument that you will develop to chart a global plan for tracking plastic pollution. This anticipation is heightened by the zero draft, and it is the shared belief of many that this third session presents an opportunity for you, distinguished delegates, to convert the draft into a plan. The zero draft serves as a rallying call for global collective action for our planet through various interventions such as the reduction of plastic produced, elimination of problematic and short-lived plastics, investments in solid waste management policies, and a just transition by integrating workers, especially in the informal settings, to ensure that no one is left behind in the shift from a linear to a circular model of plastic life cycle management. The ambition for the zero draft is a welcome signal that the world is one step closer to ending plastic pollution, one of the biggest contributors to the triple planetary crisis. I commend the committee for your inclusive approach and incorporating the views of diverse stakeholders. This draft is a product of true environmental multilateralism. I would like to affirm Kenya's commitment to ending plastic pollution. We demonstrated this commitment with a ban on the manufacture and use of polythene bags in 2017, followed closely in 2020 with a ban on single-use plastics in protected areas such as national parks, forests, and beaches. Further, in July 2022, Kenya enacted the Sustainable Waste Management Act, which made our country the first in the world to subject all products, including plastics, to extended producer responsibility. We know this is not enough, and we are ready to play our part in the elimination of plastic pollution. Nobel laureate Wangari Maathai, a daughter of our own soil, taught us the principle of the hummingbird, which is essentially beginning to do the work bit by bit until it is done. I thank the African Ministerial Conference on Environment for proposing that the UNEP headquarters in Nairobi be the host of the Secretariat for the Plastic Convention. The chairman of Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee in the synthesis paper to be considered at this meeting has also seconded this idea. I humbly ask members, states, to support this proposal to host the Secretariat at UNEP headquarters here in Nairobi. And I'm saying this because we have been very generous. Many of the environment treaties that have been agreed upon in the past have gone to other destinations, which is something we value. But because UNEP today has grown and we need some grandchildren here, and one of them is going to be this treaty once it's agreed upon. This will strengthen UNEP, one of the few United Nations agencies headquartered in the global south. Dealing with plastic pollution is central to making progress on climate change. Plastics could account for up to 19% of greenhouse gas emissions allowed under a 1.5 degrees centigrade by 2040. It is now time for investors, multinational corporations, and technology companies to shift strategic investment to reduce their plastic waste footprint. We call upon producers and innovators to rethink plastic products and packaging to reflect the principles of reuse, refill, repair, and repurpose, for exploring alternative options such as non-plastic substitutes, alternative plastics, and plastic products that do not have negative environmental, health, and social impacts. I invite innovators to come and invest in Africa because the continent has natural resources that can be used for planet-friendly alternatives. This is an opportunity for African plastic alternative industries to become market leaders and drive economic growth and transformation on our continent, create jobs, create opportunities, unleash the huge potential that exists in our continent. Innovation has moved humanity forward for centuries, helping people overcome numerous threats and challenges. The elimination of plastic pollution is a threat that demands innovation. This is the reality and challenge that industry and private sector must accept and look for opportunities in other alternatives. The world is in need of alternatives and ways of making plastics circular. This calls for investment in mechanisms to make technology transfer and transformation easy and possible. As we begin this third session of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee, I urge all the negotiators to recall that 2024 is only 6 weeks away and only 2 other meetings to go. I reiterate my confidence in your ability to get this done, to repay the faith humanity has placed on you to deliver this moment in history, to chart a path forward for the planet and people against one of the biggest threats we have ever faced. To deal with plastic pollution, humanity must change. We must change the way we consume, the way we produce, and how we dispose our waste. This is the reality of our world. Change is inevitable. This treaty, this instrument that we are working on, is the first domino in this change. Let us bring it home, because in any case you are at home. Let the change begin. Thank you very much. God bless you. And before I conclude, this is not how I always dress. I sometimes do better. But today, as was said by Madam Anderson here, we have a special working day. We are all working but planting trees in Kenya. It is not a holiday as such. It is a special working day. And we are committed that today we are going to plant 100 million trees in Kenya today. And it is because we have made a commitment that we are going to plant 15 billion trees in the next 10 years. And this is because we believe in the environment, and that is why UNEP is here in Nairobi. And I don't know whether you read clearly your invitation letters, there was a small print somewhere, you might want to check, that said that before you leave Nairobi, you must plant a tree. And I have issued I have issued very firm instructions that nobody leaves the airport until they have planted their tree. So please plant your tree, and I will ask you to do one more thing. When you plant that tree, because we need to look after it when you leave, please download either in the Apple Store or in Android an app. It's called Jaza Miti. Jaza Miti, let me give you the word, J-A-Z-A, that is Jaza, and then Miti, M-I-T-I. Download, take a picture, it will go into our website, we will know where the tree is, and we will look after it when you have planted. Because that app will enable us to know the geolocation of the tree you have planted. So I am making that request to all of us who are here. We will be very proud if you can join our tree planting effort. The Ministry of Environment has made all the tree seedlings for each one of you available in this compound. And it is also free. So let me say thank you very much. I wish you well, and we look forward to a good product. God bless you.
I thank the President of the Republic of Kenya for his statement. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, with this, I would like to close this opening segment. So please allow a 5-minute break for our dignitaries to leave the podium. Delegates, please remain